moms that eat her placenta. I know that there are people out there that
I'm not doing that one. That one's off.
Okay, Edom, back to you. What's up, man? How you doing?
Alright, but you gotta put the placenta on the baby, man. It keeps the skin soft, is what I heard.
do the leg cord clamping for sure. That's very helpful.
I have heard that.
Yeah, that's what we did. We did that with our daughter, the leg cord clamps.
Hey, look, if you're gonna eat the placenta, like, why are you slopping at the placenta?
There's all sorts of beneficial things that come out. Anyway, so Edom's orphan. How are you today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm blessed. How y'all doing?
Not too bad. What do you got for us today?
You supposed to be asking the Christian mods here, or what?
Sure. Let's see what happens. What's up?
Yeah, well, the first thing I think to ask you is, are you guys Calvinists?
Whoa!
Right,
Straight out the gate. That's the shotgun. That's a sawed-off shotgun right there.
Courtney and myself are not.
Yes, Courtney is in good, and you in good shape. Calvinism needs to be predestined to die, man.
Oh no! Chris.
I like this guy. I like this guy. Let him talk.
It's been preordained since the foundation of Calvinism.
You did, Chris. Look what you did.
It's all my fault. I used my free will to bring him up here.
Incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Chris, actually, this is probably a part of the Lord's plan, though.
It was always gonna happen. What are you talking about?
All things are decreed. I do not disagree. All things are decreed. So Edom, why is it that you dislike Calvinism? I'm not gonna say hate.
Or did you have another question first?
No, that was the question, man, about Calvinism. I actually can't stomach I can't stomach Calvinists, especially like extreme, like 5-point Calvinists. It's just
Calvinists.
I'm not aware. I'm not aware of like.
Is there a Calvinist light? I've never heard of any other Calvinists.
Yeah, some people claim, oh yeah, I believe in two points of Calvinism. They'll say stuff like that. I believe in one.
I mean, I'm fairly certain if you're a Christian, you're going to believe in more than you think. It probably just has.
Yeah, I think you just have it out differently.
Before you get shit going on this, can you give me 90 seconds? My popcorn's almost.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Greg. Now, see, Greg's another Calvinist, so now you're surrounded by Calvinists.
Well, I think Courtney and
Is this like the Hebrew Israelites? Like when someone mentions Calvinists, like they all come to
Remind me of
Calvinists. I blame Calvinists for the Hebrew Israelites. How about that?
You're wrong for that.
Wait, why? Wait, I gotta know why.
Calvinism, because they believe in it's literally Calvinism. It's literally, look, we're the black Hebrew Israelites, and we're predestined to be righteous. Then the white people are predestined to go to hell. That's literally the idea.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but they're not like Calvinists.
No, they're not out.
He's Calvinist. What's his name? Dang,
Ron.
I hate Calvinist.
That's Ron.
Yeah.
You're not a Calvinist, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. You're not like a open theist, right?
No, definitely not. No.
Wait, let's get this out of the, like, you're great right now. Let's like rule out Chris's checklist. Are you Seventh-day Adventist?
No.
Are you some sort of weird spiritist who also follows Jesus? Do you play with Christian tarot cards, grave soap, or anything like that?
Absolutely not.
Alright, we'll stop there. He's good.
I actually had a question for Courtney, but she's not a mod. I don't know if I can ask it or not.
You can ask whatever, man. No one cares.
She's a mod.
Yeah, no,
She's a mod.
No, but I've been seeing Courtney on YouTube, on Rabbi Asher's TikTok, I think.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. We didn't ask you if you're a Hebrew Israelite.
No, I'm not.
No, it's a troll. His name is a troll. That's what he's trolling.
Just cover the bases.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would just consider myself a semi-reformed Protestant, I guess, if you want to
Semi-reformed, but you don't like Calvinism?
Yeah, I know.
What the heck?
It's
It's like the only thing I agree with Rick Real on. Like, he says he's Calvinist, but hates Calvinism culture. Like, he nails it.
Yeah, I guess I can say that. Calvinism culture. That's fair. I can say that.
It would be like totally not right. She's good. Grexing's alright. But you know what I mean, right? It's like okay, fine. Look, for academics, like, look, I guess you tie up your bows nice and neat, dot the I's and cross the T's, and you know, we get it. Good job. But it's like for whatever reason, the culture that comes with it, it's like there's so many people who are grumpy and like yelling and screaming and like, fine, burn in hell, demon. God wants you to burn. It's like, even if you believe that, you're like, well, look, if you reject Christ, you're going to be in hell, and that's unfortunate. You're like, it is a good and righteous thing. You die and burn in hell.
Yeah, it's sick.
Hey, who let Andrew in the room?
Yeah, we let Andrew in the room. Andrew,
I mean, it's only a matter of time until someone says, well, yeah, it's only a matter of time until someone says, is it a good thing when someone gets raped? And some Calvinists is like, absolutely, praise Jesus.
Sick.
Even if in a different way, someone is
Calvinist.
Happened that you recovered, man, and I've seen a change in you, man. That's really cool. So I'm glad you're here today. Yeah, much love, bro. I just want to say one thing. I just want to ask you this. I'm gonna shut up. Did they say what the cause was? I'm just curious. Cancer's always kind of weird.
So in my case, it's something like the shitty genetic lottery. Like for my father and his father, they both died near or around the age of 40. And for one of them, it was a basal cell carcinoma. For me, it was a squamous cell. But it's basically you just have a few spelling mistakes and a 3 billion spelling test, 3 billion letter spelling test. If you fuck up a few wrong letters in the wrong spot. And so in this case, it's like highly inheritable. But literally, I'm beating out the statistics with respect to survival for that kind of person. And it's only because of like advances in medicine since my father passed away. His father didn't even get treatment. My father did, but it didn't save him. It actually made him worse. The radiation, this is one thing to be very careful for everyone, is that with your genome, you can know, because there's already been studies of people like you, you can know to a certain degree whether you're going to react well or not to a certain kind of treatment. In my case, because I was near Chernobyl, there was a lot of data about people who were near Chernobyl as well. I was near Chernobyl as a baby. So it was like I was born in January and Chernobyl, I believe, was April. And so I was in Poland, so radioactive rain and other things, and literally just starts the clock. Like 25 to 40 years later, you're going to get some sort of cancer that might be super terminal if you don't catch it early. But the saving grace is that something like 80 to 90% of cancers are treatable if caught early. So make sure you get, like, you know, whether you like it or not, getting a genome sequence does help you accelerate to the front of the line for all sorts of specialized clinical trials that give you the best odds. But I will say that there were a lot of things through that experience that, you know, I said it wasn't something that I would wish on my worst enemy, but it's also the best thing that's ever happened to me because it's made me a better person in every way, and I would never want to go back and not experience it. So, like, from the perspective of, like, what you were talking about with Jesus, that, hey, Jesus was told that he was going to be overwhelmed, and one of his disciples was like, yo, we won't fucking let that happen, bro. And he was like, no, you got it wrong. You got to let it happen. Wow. And that's how we show growth, you know. So for what it's worth, I've come to really appreciate the stories from Christianity by virtue of their focus on suffering, which is the thing that defines us strongest. And it's not a guilt trip. It's like, you know, Christians not crying, gotcha. But that actually sets up a better operating system in your brain than any other theology or most other theologies, and it naturally translates to physics. So as a physicist, I'm like, yo, come on over. There's not many incompatibilities. It's just like the left hand and the right hand. You need both hands to understand the world. And so that's kind of the place of religion with respect to science. So I'll leave it there for now, but
Man,
thank you.
That was amen, brother.
That was like edifying. I thank you for that, bro. I super, and I'm stoked that you pulled through, and I hope you continue to do so, and that you learned like awesome lessons from that. I saw the change when I talked to you last. And
You learned that from drunk Jesus. Not your fake Jesus. Not your fake Jesus.
Well, drunk Jesus, we can talk about that, Loki.
He was a drunk God.
But just to be clear, well, this is weird, Loki, because in the other room you said you're a Christian.
I am a Christian. Why can't I have all?
But that's a sin. You think Jesus?
That's a sin. It's a sin. Are you sure?
Yes. The Bible
That is not a sin.
the Bible teaches drunkenness.
Jesus says otherwise.
Okay, we'll talk about it, brother. But hold on, real quick. I just want to say, when you said that the only reason you lived basically was the advances of medicine and stuff, and maybe a little Jesus too. I might say that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not even kidding. So check this. Like, some of the people that I work with and folks, like, there was a Korean family that got a whole church to kind of pray, and like, I will say, like, when I heard that it was going to happen, and I was like, because I'm a physicist, I was like, I want to see if I feel something. So I was looking at the clock during the time of mass, and I can't say that I didn't feel anything. Maybe it's just me psyching myself out, but I will take all of the Jesus points because I'm just happy to still be here, and that's actually what I do now is in medical diagnostics to make early actually very possible and very cheap. And so I'm just trying to pay it forward. Every minute is a blessing.
Thank you so much for your, good morning, everybody. I'm gonna go back down. I just want to.
I love you, Stevie.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. I so appreciate this segment of chillism because we do go back and forth sometimes and act crazy, but at the end of the day, this is where we grew up. This is where, we found about each other and just kind of encourage one another. And I just wanted to say great combo. And Loki, you holding your own. Okay. But stop calling it drunkard.
You're also a demon, bro. Look,
He's also a recovered drunkard. That's the point. If he became a drunk, we don't hear about those years. It's like, he was experimenting with Buddhism. It's all good, bro. The sluts and hoes and pimps. It's all good. All the gangsters.
I ain't say all that.
Yeah.
Look, I'll say this. Look.
I wanted to jump in.
Hold on, Jinx. Come on. Everybody's cut me off. Let me finish.
Jinx, let's talk about spiritualism. Go ahead.
Come on, Jinx.
I don't have to go into. I have to go into work.
Okay, we'll come back after work. You can tell us later. Don't worry
I
about
don't
it.
have to
Hop out
serious.
the car, Jinx. Go ahead, you go.
Shut up.
Thank you, guys. Come on.
Let me say
So
something.
you need rest to get permission to talk. That's
Go
weird.
ahead, you go.
Wait, what did you say, Jimmy?
I just wanted to tell Io that I love him so much, and I loved hearing his story. And I was very curious about his story previously, but I never wanted to ask him because I didn't want to be invasive of his life. But hearing that he beat the odds, that makes me so happy inside because obviously I see people, lose their battle every single day. And I'm just so glad that you're here. Thank the Lord. I'm very full of love for you, Io. Very glad that you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for all this. Hey, Nathan, what are you doing, Nathan? Stop.
No, she was negative.
But I just appreciate, I appreciate, even though I argue against it, I've come to move closer to what religion talks about. Like I said, it's the right hand and the left hand. The right hand is the more dominant hand for most humans, but the left hand gives you a different perspective on the world, and literally that's down to the molecular level. That there's something like handedness down to the molecule. So at every level of analysis, there's something like that kind of dual symmetry. Even in the analysis itself, you have things that you can determine from evidence, and what I would say is apologetics. My definition is truth from logic alone. And it's weird how much of God you can construct just from starting from logic alone. And that's where Nathan and I would actually agree, because that points you in the direction of St. Aquinas and unified arguments for.
And you know what, Io? I'm going to take that as what to do now. Use logic and truth. Come on, real quick. Come on. Almost.
You showed us how Jesus was a drunk.
Yeah, I got you right now. So let me finish. So, Eva, can you mute your mic, please? It's just the background music. It's okay. So, let me read a verse to you. And it says, you got Matthew, Mark, and Luke all saying this. I tell you, Jesus saying, I will not drink again of this fruit drinking new in the coming kingdom. Luke also.
It's White Wednesday. Why are we talking about this faggot?
Oh, freak, like, come on. For I tell you that from now I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes. So now, what we need to pay attention to is what Andrew said earlier. He said idioms. Idiom. What we just heard here was an idiom called fruit of the vine. Within Greek and Jewish literature, especially the book of Psalms and Proverbs, it says the fruit of the vine as a blessing referring to wine. And then speaking of wine, we read it. So now we hear your Lord Jesus saying he will not drink again of wine, of alcoholic wine that comes from the vine. So now here, hold on, let me finish. So now he says he will not drink it again until it's new wine. This is another phrase, oh my God. So Jesus himself testifies again when he says the Son of Man has come drinking and eating. And then the Pharisees, who have we made clear earlier, they had accurate observation. They said Jesus was not over 30 years old. They said Moses, that means their conscience aware, they said Moses gave permission for the false. So mostly everything they said to us is very accurate so far. And you admitted earlier that when they said this, two of those statements were true. He did eat and drink with tax collectors. So why would it not be true? So the question truly is, did he get drunk? I'm saying if you drink this often, you are an alcoholic. And like Io said, he gave it up. He said, I will not drink it again when the suffering began, in order to show us how to quit an addiction, in order to endure, and show us that he knew what it was to be a human. Ooh, I think God is a God in heaven that knows what it is to be a human. I don't think you know the gospel.
That's like making a game and then playing the shit out of every character class so you know the world better than the characters themselves. That's what it...
Woo! Now that's how you take away a person's Christian.
Before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massey and Connor for their role in putting together this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill really matters. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage and sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Adriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices mattered. Their stories must not be forgotten. Accountability is what makes a society civilized. Equal opportunity and equal consequence for all. Consequences are not about punishment alone. They exist to deter future harm, to protect vulnerable, and to set a standard of justice. If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made to testify and make mockery of mine and all survivors' suffering. That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential. It requires the Department of Justice release all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigation long. logs, immunity deals, internal communications, and even the records surrounding Epstein's detention and death. And crucially, it forbids withholding documents simply because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. This is about ending secrecy wherever abuse of power takes root. But transparency alone is not enough. Survivors need protection, resources, and legal support. If this Congress is serious about justice, then let this moment also affirm your commitment to provide victims with the legal aid they need to confront abusers, to navigate complex systems, and to reclaim their power. Transparency must be matched by support, or else too many victims will remain silent out of fear and lack of access. The statistics demand action. Nearly 1 in 5 women in America will experience rape or attempted rape in her lifetime. Every 74 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that person is a child. These are not numbers, they are people. They are your daughters, your sons, your constituents, your friends. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare. The days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. I want to help create a world where survivors of sexual abuse and abuse of power can come forward safely. And I ask Congress to join me in that effort, not only by passing this bill, but by ensuring that those who step forward have legal support to face their abusers and see justice done. When Judge Berman gave Epstein survivors the chance to finally speak, the world listened. After so many years, survivors were heard. That moment was historic, and so is this moment. For me, the turning point was when I had my daughter, and on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her and to protect all children. I have to use my voice, the voice that had been silenced by fear and shame for so many years. Make no mistake, my polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse. And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing. You have a choice. Stand with the truth, or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. And I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us. Because we need it now, and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Annie Farmer, and I was 16 years old when I was flown to New Mexico to spend a weekend with Epstein and Maxwell. That same year, 1996, my sister, Maria Farmer, reported what happened to me there, along with reporting her own assault at their hands and their theft of sensitive photos of herself, of me, and our younger sister that she had taken for her work as a figurative painter. I am now 46 years old. 30 years later, we still do not know why that report wasn't properly investigated, or why Epstein and his associates were allowed to harm hundreds, if not thousands, of other girls and young women. We have never been told whether those images were found when they discovered a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his property. As a psychologist, I understand that when the systems meant to protect us recreate the abuse cycle, the betrayal that occurs can be just as damaging as the original trauma. This happens when survivors of these crimes are not believed, when our well-being is not weighed as heavily as those who have more resources or more privilege, and when perpetrators of these crimes are given a platform rather than the survivors of them. For so many years, it felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret. Not only did many others participate in the abuse, it is clear that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so. They wanted access to his circle and his money. Their choice to align with his power left those of us who had been harmed by this man and his associates feeling very isolated. I could never have imagined being here today and this chorus of support that we have all received. I have been sent so many notes and messages from people with no direct connection to this case who've expressed their solidarity with us. And I believe that is because, in part, as Anushka explained so well, this is an extremely widespread issue of child sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of sexual violence. This affects almost every family in some way. From my conversations with women in these last few days, and from all of the support that we've received, it's very clear to me that we are not going away, we are not going to be quiet, and we are not going to give up. And I ask the American public to stand with us and not give up. At a time with record high levels of distrust in our institutions and a perception that there are two Americas, one for those with power and privilege, and one for everyone else, passing this Epstein transparency bill is one important step that can be taken to prove to Americans that the government does not side with sexual perpetrators. A thorough public review of this information is an important step in preventing the type of systemic failures that have occurred in this case of us. An important step towards healing for those involved. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'd like to say thank you everyone for being here today on this very powerful and special day for all of us here. My name is Marina Lacerda. I was minor victim 1 in federal indictment of Jeffrey Epstein in New York in 2019. I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know who were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time I ever speak publicly about what happened to me. I never thought that I would find myself here. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say. As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice. For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American. I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey. It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give an older guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back. From 14 to 17 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important. I would finally have made it big, as, like we say, the American dream. That day never came. I had no way out. I was, until he finally told me that I was too old. There are many pieces of my story that I can't remember, no matter how hard I try. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself. But it's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this maybe and help me heal. They have documents with my name on them that were confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein's house and could help me put the pieces of my own life back together. But I don't have any of it. And I know the same is true for many of these women. We are here to support this bill today, not only for transparency, but for the American people. But if the government is going to release these documents to the public, describing the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and others,